Today's Saturday, the 19th of October, and we just left EFL. We're on our way to Salamanca, and from there we're going to determine how we get into the Andes.
Yeah, road conditions are going to be, of course, a very important factor. The road here is quite nice. Salamanca is only about 30 kilometers from EFL, so it shouldn't be a long drive. Our Sherpa guide, Sherpa, Eric suggests that we just continue back to the west and then we head south, and he says that's the best way to go into the Andes. We just stopped to check the map. Eric suggested we go right here, coming up at this turn. This goes to Lima Haida.
So we passed that one turn, and this road continues straight
south
on.
And east, but closer to the Andes than if we had gone in the other direction. So as we drive around, realizing the quality of the roads, although they're not all over the place here. If you want to get anywhere in Chile, the roads are few and far between, but they're in good shape. We realized that if we were to tour Chile again, the best way to do it, instead of the way we did, the best thing to do for us and the way we live our lives would simply be to fly into Santiago, rent a car, look at a map, figure out where you're interested in going, and just drive. And every evening around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you pull into a town and there's always a hostel somewhere, or an expensive hotel. You spend the night, you get up in the morning, you look on your laptop where you want to go next, you find the routes, and you just go. That would have made this trip very, very interesting in the way that our travels around Del Norte have been, pulling the teardrop trail.
They call Chile the California of South America. And here are California poppies. That's what we call them anyway. Zona Urbana, Salamanca, we just arrived.
One of the things we said earlier was that you could just rent a car in Santiago and travel, but if you're more budget-minded and you actually prefer to mix with folks as you're traveling, a better route is just to take the bus. Because the bus system here, and some of them are quite luxurious with reclining seats and 2 decks, is excellent for getting around.
Oh, here we go. Here's the Parada. Right there.
This looks like a major bus stop, so if you wanted to go to another town, you would come here. Salamanca seems to be a larger town than we would have anticipated. We're now going at a right angle to the main road, and you can see there's plenty of bodegas, shops, little businesses, cafes, and it looks like it will probably go on for quite a ways until the valley ends, and we're hoping when we get to that hill over there we can take a left and continue our journey to the south and to the east.
Via Santa Rosa. So they don't have highway numbers. They just post those little green signs, and the next town is actually on the highway.
And you check the map and you can see that Via Santa Rosa is where we want to go.
So thus having a map is very important.
Well, we've discovered that there is nothing but an unimproved road that we were thinking of going down. So the map indicates that it's paved, but it's not. Either that or we're completely lost. So now we're going to go back to our guides, the Sherpas, back at the hostel's recommendation that we go to Lima Haida.
So here's the turnoff to Lima Haida.
That we chose not to take early on in order to go to Salamanca. And now we're going to go down it to see if it actually leads up to any kind of altitudes in the mountains around here. Because the last route simply took us down deep into a valley and then appeared to dead end on us.
Came wide at 7 kilometers. Well, we headed towards the direction that Eric Sherpa told us to go originally. We're going to come to a tunnel, he said, and we are ascending. We're on our way to Caimanes.
Gaining altitude, that's a good sign. Maybe we are actually in the Andes.
Some goat just ran out in front of us. Luckily, he was very fast. Túnel Las Astras.
Yeah, we think we're about as high as we're going to get on these mountains. Hopefully at the other side of the tunnel, we'll still climb a bit more, and we will get
Whoa. Hopefully,
some kind of
what
vista.
if someone comes through this way?
We have to back up, or they do. We got our lights on now, so that they'll know we're coming.
So
wow.
This is the tunnel that Eric Sherpa was telling us
showed
about
us. Wow.
on his video. Oh, so we emerged from the tunnel. Took less than 1 minute to get through it.
And I would say we've gone about as high up as we're going to go. We'll give you a little vista with the camera. Down below, Vanessa has taken a different route, probably a safer one. I was thinking this was some kind of cattle ranch. But that isn't any moo you're hearing out there. You can see my hike down before me. Like most dry areas, the wood is very hard on the plants, and occasionally there's spikes.
We are on our way looking for another vista, a higher vista.
So we're continuing away from the tunnel, and we noticed quite a bit of traffic, so we're hoping that just having your headlights on when you enter it is enough to ward someone off. Oops.
There's another one.
Another tunnel. Headlight.
Actually, the traffic were all work trucks.
Right, get the headlights on this vehicle. Oh, that's how you do it. That's right. Let's stay here. Oh my God. I don't need to see the end of this thing.
That's around the corner. Around the bend, I mean.
Well, so much for somebody seeing your headlights when you're trying to enter it. This makes no sense. I think we probably would do better to just turn around and go back out.
Well, this is where the other trucks went.
Yeah, but I have to back out with no lights whatsoever. This is rather insane.
I don't think it's a dead end.
It's not a dead end. What it is if somebody else is entering this tunnel, somebody has to back out and there are no lights. So let's hope it's short. And it looks like it is. So. All right, well, on the way back, however, we're going to have the same excitement. Clearly, there would be no tunnels, which are very expensive to engineer here, unless there was access to another community. And you can see it down below to the left. Some of the indigenous
Cabaras.
cabaras? Is that what they're called?
Cabara? Yeah.
These are full-sized goats. We've seen tiny ones, half their size already on the road.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, I hadn't had a shot
Full of milk.
video.
Hey, they're fixing the roads here, and they had a sign in Spanish telling us, watching out for gravel flying up from the wheels.
Not sure how long this will go on, and if it goes on for too long, then it'll be another reason why we would turn around. The road did grading, heading downhill, all indicated to us that it was time to turn around and go back. In this case, we're with other vehicles. Basically, we're hoping that if there's a caravan of us going through the tunnels, especially the second one, which you can't see, that we'll have a better chance of getting through without a vehicle approaching from the other direction, because the previous cars would have swept the path for us. You can see we had the good fortune of having some cars lead the way. Not so important in this tunnel, but as you recall, the second tunnel was the one that had a curve in it, which is more difficult to anticipate any approaching vehicles. And I'm not sure when it comes up, but I think it's pretty soon. There was a sign here that announced that this was a curved tunnel, which we didn't notice on entrance. About to exit the first tunnel we encountered, Los Astos.
Astas. A-S-T-A-S.
Los Astos. And then we're heading back to the town of Illapel. We're back at the town of Illapel. This is a really nice view of the whole valley. Vanessa had noticed that smoke way off in the distance, and now we can see it's some kind of fire. This is such a nice panning view of the valley of Illapel is located in. We technically enter it when we cross a bridge, and know, that seems to be the spot where we entered. And we just keep sweeping along here until we see the bridge. Wow. The part we are staying is, of course, right down the middle of town, is closest to the lowest point in the valley. But you can see the sweeping hillsides with the many domiciles. At a certain point, the hills get so steep that people can't build anymore.
Here's the river. Oh, and there's, look at all the goats out there. And the horses drinking the water. What little water there is.
And to get back to Sherpa's hostel, we'll be taking the left right up here. Here we are. We're coming up on Postal Sherpa.
Oh, here's his truck. Tour y Expedición.
And all we need to do now is arrange to get a gate open so we can park the car safely for the night. Until we make our next venture tomorrow to the Chinchilla National Park.